we can just go ahead and move on to your number 2, Meg.
Guess what's tough? Number two, she's one of my characters. Pick base wise. You know, known to love her from the World Series of Wrestling. It's KPN's base, Charlotte Flair.
So
And
a lot of
you
people don't like
what?
Charlotte Flair. So what? Tell us what do you love about her?
I think Charlotte is very versatile when it comes to her character. Um, she's a really good, she's a decent face, but a damn good heel. I understand why people don't like her, but at the same time, I get why they don't like her because she's always in the spotlight. Me, I respect her for her athleticism, and I think she's really good. I mean, championships aside, you know, you know, she can go. But I think the reason why people don't like her is she's always in that spotlight.
How many championships does she have now? Seven,
14.
14. Well,
Yes.
she's gonna own the record, right? I think
Yeah,
that's
she has a record for the women.
well, she's gonna own the record for all of wrestling. Um, I think her father's had it so many times. She's gonna break his record, and if that seems to be the way they're queuing it up, is that they keep putting the belt on her and taking it off of her right away, so that she can win it again when they need to transition that title off of somebody. Um, I mean, Charlotte Flair, for my money, she's the best pure female wrestler in the world. Um, did your heart stop? um, I mean, she's strong. She's very good. I like Charlotte Flair. I've just kind of seen enough of her. You know, Todrick, disagree with me.
No, okay, so like I told you guys, I was gonna put Charlotte on my list, and it was very hard to not put her on my list for a lot of reasons. So this is again one of those things. People hate Charlotte Flair, but when you need a heel in the women's division, did you really have a lot of heels that you could go back to? Because at that time, you didn't have the Dark Alexa Bliss, and you didn't have like, you know, there are women who have clearly identified themselves as heels. Charlotte does it, and she does it well. She has athleticism in the ring. My problem with Charlotte is she doesn't. She may know how to sell, but she doesn't sell as well as she should.
Yeah, that's true.
Um, so I think that she has to work on that. But I think that Charlotte is old faithful when it comes to we need a female villain, and I think that that's why they immediately put the belt back on her because you got women now that can totally be the heel. You don't need Charlotte Flair to be where she is. She's solid on the mic. She's solid in the ring. No one can take that away from her. Her athleticism, she backs it all up. She has proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that she does not get her accomplishments because she's Ric Flair's daughter. She's proven that. And a lot of people may disagree because it's like, oh yeah, she gets the spots, whatever. But like I said, when it came to a pure heel, who did they have at those times to insert in those storylines to have that clearly defined heel? Charlotte was it because everybody's like, Sasha got robbed. Sasha was the face. She was going to be a face, but Sasha also got injured a lot. So are you going to build your women's division around her? She suffered the same curse that Finn Balor suffered, that a lot of other people suffered. So it is what it is. Charlotte was reliable. She was always going to work. She worked through injuries. Is what it is. Now, in today's day and age, Charlotte is now about to have to experience what it is to compete with all these other women. When it comes now, the one thing I will say, while I clutch my pearls, When I think of pure athleticism in the ring, to me, and y'all can disagree, I think Naomi, hands down, is the most athletic person in that ring. The things that she is able to do, oh my God. Charlotte can't touch her, but Naomi needs work on the mic. That's why she's not the total package. That's why she's not on my list. As much as I want to put her on my list, she's not on my list because she has to work on the things on the mic. If she had that, there's nothing that woman couldn't do. And we wouldn't even be talking about Charlotte Flair based on the things that Naomi can do. But I do agree that Charlotte has the talent. She also has the look. And Charlotte is very good on the mic. Charlotte could hold up to the fans when they made Becky Lynch the god of wrestling. Charlotte Flair was the one who could hold her own when no other woman could against Becky Lynch in that scenario and still do her job as the heel. She never let Becky take the spotlight, no matter how much everybody else wanted to push Becky in that spotlight. Charlotte held her own. So to me, she deserves to be on this list. She does. And she's oversaturated. I give her that. She is oversaturated, but she put in the work. And I don't think that that's a fault of her own. Like, you can't be mad at her for doing a good job. That's what she's supposed to do. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. That's what she's supposed to do. She's supposed to like go out there and do her job, and I think she does it, and she does it well. It's not her fault that she's oversaturated because some of the other women needed to refine their gimmicks or take what the writers gave them and like improve upon it. Okay, Nikki takes whatever they give her, no matter how foolish she looks, and she commits. She commits. That's what Charlotte was doing. She took what they gave her and she committed. And they needed her when there were gaps over and over and over. So yeah, it was oversaturation, but I can't be mad at her because that's what they needed at those times. I think she absolutely deserves to be on this list. Yeah. Where Meg put her.
Yeah, I mean, how many female wrestlers have the longevity that she does? She's been doing this a long time and has worked with everybody. And she's very good, and she's going to go down as one of the greatest ever in that division. And people are going to be polarized. They're either going to love her or hate her. There's not going to be many people in between because her name is synonymous with women's wrestling right now. So, all right, Todrick.
I'd take her over to Stratus.
Yeah,
but that's a hot topic.
No, I don't know that it is. But
oh no, you can't talk about Trish Stratus and people don't get mad.
Okay. Well, we're not going to open that can of worms. But all right, Todrick, you're number 2.
All right, so my number 2 is Rhea Ripley. And wow. I picked Rhea Ripley because she has been solid. Every match, every step of the way, she is given a gimmick. She rolls with the gimmick. She pulls off spectacular matches. She is believable. And you know, I know that when I look at certain women, like China, who is one of my heroes, you know, so that's where Todrick is the person that's most like me. But, you know, you got China, and Nia Jax is not someone who's very popular, but when you look at her, Nia Jax, Tamina, and these strong women, right? Rhea Ripley holds her own category. When I look at Rhea Ripley, the way they built up Charlotte, I can see Rhea Ripley defeating Charlotte with ease. I can see Rhea Ripley and the matches that she put on with Bianca Belair, and believe it. I believe everything about it. Her moves are solid. She continues to improve. She doesn't rely on just her look. And that's something that, she's not one of those, they don't paint her as one of those mainstream pretty girls. They put her in black lipstick and they put her with the black hair. And she is pretty. She's very pretty, right? But they don't sell her as one of those mainstream pretty girls. And she holds her own and she comes in and she can do her thing in the ring with women. She can do her thing in the ring with men. And she can pull off a match with a man. And I believe it. And I believe it. So, Rhea Ripley, she is a breath of fresh air to like what's going on. I hope that she gets her flowers, especially with the work that she's done with Judgment Day. I don't want to see her take the title off Bianca. I would love to see her take the title off of Charlotte because, like we said, Charlotte doesn't need it. But I would love to see her as the SmackDown Women's Champion and just dominate. Just dominate for a while. She works well with anybody and she doesn't have an ego. So I could see Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan have a match that is absolutely wonderful because she doesn't have the ego to where she just has to be dominant the whole match. She can give and take and give and take, and she does that. And I think that for that reason, seeing her athleticism, her aesthetic, her look, and everything that she stands about, she's my number 2, especially where she is with Judgment Day right now. She is one of those women that is at the top. She is reminding me, she took what China did with DX and she just made it her own. And now she's one of the stable. She is one of the stable. Rhea Ripley is my number 2.
Meg, chime in on Rhea Ripley.
So, Rhea Ripley, she's metal. She's tough. She's tough as nails. And, I should have put her on this list now that I think of it. But like I said, this was a hard list. And, I really hope she wins the title from WrestleMania. At WrestleMania from Charlotte.
Yeah, for me, Toddy, I'm going to break your heart here. I don't
no, it's okay.
I don't like
it's okay.
I don't like main card Rhea Ripley at all. NXT Rhea Ripley was peak Rhea Ripley for me. She was dominant there, and I don't like the black lipstick. The longer she's on the main card, the more she looks like Marilyn Manson, and I think it's a shame because they make her look like a clown when she is so talented. I understand making her contrast with all the pretty blondes and all the other girls. It definitely does set her apart. But when she took that title off of Shayna Baszler in NXT, she was a monster. That's when everybody in the arena jumped in the ring with her, and I wanted to jump in there with her too. She was fantastic there. And then I think Charlotte Flair won the Rumble and then challenged Rhea Ripley for the NXT title, which was
horrible.
It was wild to me, but it made Rhea Ripley look like she could work the main card, because if she could, if she lost the title to someone on the main card, it was like, so what? But if she lost it to someone in NXT, it was like, well, maybe she's not ready yet. But
right.
She in NXT, I really, really liked Rhea Ripley. On the main card, I'm just not into it at all. I cannot wait for the face turn, the inevitable face turn, when all of a sudden she becomes the most popular wrestler in the entire women's division. It'll happen eventually, but right now, like you said, she is metal.
So let me ask you a question. right? All right. I hear what you're saying about the black lipstick and the look. I think that they are trying to figure out. No, not even trying to figure out. I think that they're presenting her as I can hang with the boys, but I'm still a girl. And there's a fine line with making her that dominant, right? Because, okay, so we talked about China and we talked about Nia Jax. Obviously, those two women, they have their own aesthetic, they have their own appeal. Rhea Ripley is metal, so I think that that's why they take her. And I'm not offended or upset with the image because I feel like they're trying to do the gender bend, but still make sure she's still a woman, which I can give them credit for trying to do that if it makes sense, because that's why I feel like they introduced Dominic as like, oh, this is mommy, because they don't want her to be a man. And she's obviously not a man. She's a very pretty woman. Even if you've seen pictures of Rhea Ripley out of the makeup, even in the makeup, she's pretty to me in the makeup, right? She's so gorgeous out of the makeup as well. So I think that they're trying to like establish that niche because of the things that she can do. And they have a hard time when it came to the women. I think they got so much pressure with China that's why they like softened her image, right? Nia didn't have to do that. Nia has the size. She could just, it doesn't matter. We believe it when she comes in there, right? I feel like they experimented with China, and I feel like right now what they're doing with Rhea is that androgynous look. So, right, that's why Damian Priest can come in, wear Rhea Ripley's ring gear, and it's still okay. That's why I feel like it is, and I feel like you remember when Paige tried to do the anti-diva thing? Mm-hmm. Paige made it like obnoxious, right? Paige made it obnoxious, but Rhea Ripley, to me, does the anti-diva thing without trying, if that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah, there's definitely some of that there. I mean, it's a very androgynous look, right? Where, I mean, she's very muscular, but she's also very feminine, but the haircut is very androgynous, and the makeup is very neutral. I mean, it's a stunning look. Like, it's shocking. It's a shocking look, is the way to put it. So, I mean, it works. I'm just kind of over it. I don't know how else to put it. I would love to see her get softened up a little bit, and but what she's doing is working too. So I have mixed feelings about everything that they're doing with her.
It's so hard for them to do that with her because they have so many females that they make look soft. I feel like that's why. So like, look at Natalya, right? They made her cut her hair. And we all know that. We've seen it. They make them cut their hair. They make them dye their hair a certain color, wear a certain makeup. And it just feels like now they're struggling. They're trying to find this niche because you've got Dana Brooke that you could do something. You could absolutely do something with her. You just refuse to. She continues to improve, but you won't, right? And so she's a blonde, and you got these other blondes. You just got rid of Mandy Rose, and I think if you change Rhea's look now, I feel like it's going to put her back in that category with the other ones where they don't know what they're doing with them. They're just trying to figure it out, right? The NXT girls are so good. So good. If you watch those NXT girls, oh my God. But they don't know what they're doing with their looks. And it's apparent. And I think that that's a failure to them. They need to figure out what are you going to do with their looks and just figure it out. But if you change Rhea's look right now, she's the only one with that look, right? Alexa's the only one that comes close with the dark makeup when she's in the dark character.
Yeah.
So Alexa is safe. But Rhea, her look stands out to me. If you change that, now you're putting her she doesn't stand out the way she did before. It makes her unique. It makes her look badass. It makes her look like I just want to see her go in here and fuck up anybody that she comes against. I look at her and that's what I see when I look at Rhea Ripley.
I agree. No, you make some great points there, and I love Rhea Ripley too. I'm giving her, like, she's so good that you really have to like split hairs over. Well, I like her, but I would like her more if this were to happen. You know, so it's I'm just playing devil's advocate. All right, my number 2, who I think is the best tag team in the world right now, FTR, and what is it, Dax, Cash Wheeler, and Dax Harwood. What I love about these guys is that they're old school type wrestlers who they follow the traditional rules of the ring, and you can tell that they are people who love pro wrestling. If they weren't doing this on a big scale, they'd be doing it locally, and they'll do it until they're not allowed to do it ever again. I just enjoy every match that I see FTR in, and I didn't like them when they were in WWE. I didn't like them at all until I saw them in AEW and saw them work with some other really great tag teams, and they got to run their matches the way that they want, and I haven't seen a match of theirs that I disliked. I mean, it's... Meg, you'll appreciate this. I went out and bought their action figures because I was like, damn, I just love these guys. Every time they have a match, you know it's going to be good, and they are easily my favorite tag team in the world. So where am I with FTR? What do you guys think? Meg, you go first.
I wasn't really a fan of FTR. Even during the revival, it didn't really click. But I guess in AEW, with the whole thing, they started clicking. But unfortunately, they had to take a break, which is deserved. But at the same time, they were kind of growing on me. Unfortunately, breaks do have to happen. I hope when they come back, they'll come back strong.
I mean, they're coming off a run here where they had every championship belt in the world, basically. I think AAA, New Japan, Ring of Honor. They've had the AEW championship. I'm pretty sure they had the WWE championship. I mean, how many people can say that they've held every title? It really has been impressive, in my opinion. Todrick, what do you think about these guys?
Yeah, I think that they have had great runs. I think that those runs have been underappreciated, but tag teams is something that you get right or you don't get it right. And you have to push a certain way to make sure that your division doesn't get staled. And I don't know that they've had their moment in the sun when that division didn't get just overlooked. Mm-hmm. And I hope that they will find that, because I do think that they are a good tag team. I don't want to see this tag team go away. I want to see exactly what they could do when they have the belts on them. So, I like them.
So I understand it's not a sexy pick, right? They're not a tag team that I liked right away. It took me a long time to get what they are. And their gimmick is that nothing fancy. No flips, just fists. That's their motto. And they are who they are. They will never be singles competitors. They are only a tag team. That is all they do. It's what they specialize in. They follow the rules of tag team wrestling. They try to pick up the division, and it's an acquired taste. It's like you don't like coffee the first time you drink it. It takes a little while to warm up to it, and that's these guys. It took me a while to warm up to them, but now they are the benchmark that I compare every tag team to. Their work is... Go ahead.
You know what they remind me of? And this may be... I don't think it's a saucy take, but I don't think that people understood the Vaudevillains the way that they should have. I saw them live a couple of times, and this tag team reminds me of them. They're ahead of their time. They do good work. They look good in the ring, but it's just not pushed the way it's supposed to be pushed, or people just don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
They remind me of one of those tag teams, because I'm telling you, they're really good when you watch them, and that's what, I don't know where that came from, but the Vaudevillains just popped in my mind when I thought about them, and I was like, that was a really good tag team.
Yeah, I compare them to the Hart Foundation, Bret Hart and Jim Neidhart. When you see them come out, especially if you don't know who they are, they look like a pair of jobbers, right? That doesn't look like there's anything significant about them. They don't have a striking look. They look very vanilla, but it's one of those things like if you know, you know. Like you're watching greatness when you watch these guys because they are wrestling through and through. Classic traditionalist, and you know what you're in for because they perform consistently every time. So what I feel, it's like I said, it's an acquired taste. Once you got a flavor for what they do, you know that they're going to deliver every time. That's why I like them, and I think it takes watching a few of their matches to go, you know what, these guys are pretty damn good. Every match they're in is really good. And if you want my match recommendations on how to come around, watch their trio of matches against the Briscoe brothers in Ring of Honor. Really, really good work by both tag teams. And
Agreed.
For my money, it's the pinnacle of tag team wrestling. A pair of brothers versus two traditional wrestling guys who you can tell how much they just mesh with each other. Just really, really good stuff. In a day where tag team wrestling is underappreciated, they are through and through tag wrestling. All right, Meg, you're number one. Let's put a bow on this thing. Let's wrap it up. Who is your number one? Wait, first, Todrick. You think you can guess who Meg has at number one?
No, Meg has been unpredictable.
Yeah.
I don't know that I can.
I'm gonna guess it has to be a female wrestler. I'm gonna guess Bayley.
No.
Okay.
So she didn't pick Finn Balor, right? She didn't pick Finn Balor, so I don't know where to go.
It's not a bad guess. All right, Meg, hit us with your number one.
Ready? It's Asuka.
There we go. Okay, that's so we talked a lot about Asuka already, but what is it about Asuka that makes her above everybody else?
So to me, I think she has everything, the tools to be one of the greatest Japanese female wrestlers in WWE.
Well, one of the greatest wrestlers, period.
Yep. And I think that the match, I really don't want to spoil with Todrick, but, if she can win the women's championship, any title this year, she'll be set. So, but Asuka's one of my favorites, and she's great. Following her days in Japan. Shimmer. If I had to recommend a match from Shimmer, it had to be The one against Lufisto. I
Ooh.
recommend it.
Yes. 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 Oh. Hmm. Okay. I
Whoa,
like
look at
it.
this look.
Hmm.
So Asuka's my number one.
Well, hey, that's a good pick. Asuka deserves more than what she gets. That's for sure. All right, Todrick, you're number one. I'm going to guess who it is. And
All right. Yes. Yes.
Meg, you can take a guess here as well. Who would Todrick pick as his number one?
Bianca, maybe?
Oh, yeah. You know what? You're probably right about that because Bianca is fantastic. Um,
And you would both be right. Bianca Belair is my number one pick. And I'm not going to I am going to do my best to not get emotional about this. All right. I picked Bianca for a multitude of reasons. And when it comes to pure athleticism, I love watching her in the ring. I love watching Bianca's attitude. I love her mic work. I love her confidence. I love that when I look at Bianca Belair, she makes me believe I can do or be anything. She is the representation on TV that we never got to see a lot. Growing up, being, you know, everything. When she says she's the EST, that just resonates to what she brings. And there are a lot of people that paved the way, and I love the fact that Bianca is not just a champion during Black History Month. Bianca is a champion that we get to see throughout the year. She proves herself and she just continues to. I don't know if y'all heard the term Black Girl Magic, but Bianca is that representation that we don't get a lot in a positive light. She she's herself. She doesn't have to play like this ghetto character. She doesn't have to play into these stereotypes. Bianca gives us something that is just hope. And her athleticism backs everything up. She's a very pretty girl. She's mainstream. She is represented in so many communities. And when you see her in the ring, Bianca makes us believe that I can be you. Bianca gives little girls hope that I can look like you and be in that ring and do what you do. And that's why she's my number one pick. I'm sorry, I did my best, but that's why she's my number one. We didn't have that. I never had that growing up, but we got it now, and she's a class act.
Meg, what are your thoughts? We lost you. Meg, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. No, I was waiting until Todrick is done. I think that's the right decision to put Bianca at one. Because she's proved everything. She's a well known, respected athlete, and you can respect that. Plus, it also helps that I have her action figures too.
This is
Which I
confirmation
collect.
bias, right?
Hmm?
Said confirmation bias, right?
Yeah. I'll show
Uh,
you guys this tomorrow.
all right. Well, I'm gonna shoot a little bit on Bianca Belair here, and it's not because I don't think she's fantastic, because she is. Um, but I think she's so much on the beginning of her career that she hasn't done her best work yet, right? She was really, really good in NXT. And the ring work was good. The mic work is good. I loved her stuff with Charlotte Flair, where she was like, "You don't even go here." To me, that just caught me every time. The gimmick with the hair is so good. Like when she whips people with the hair, it's like, that's real. It's like she's whipping her ass with that hair. Like, her intro is so good. That music, when she I don't know if she still uses the same song or not, but it's so good. It slaps, right? But what makes me respect her are the feats of strength. When she's got two girls up on her shoulder and hits them both with the burning hammer, or whatever she calls the move. What is it? The kiss of death, or I forget what it's called. But it's like
KOD. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, she's strong, and feats of strength get applause because it's like, wow, nobody else can do that. She's the only one that can do that. She hasn't been around long enough for me to say she's the best in the world. But when she wins, I feel happy for her. She certainly deserved to win her first championship in the WWE. She never got it in NXT. And that was a crime. It was like, why aren't they putting the belt on this girl? And the reason that they didn't put the belt on her is because she was still in college at the time. And as soon as she graduated college, they bumped her up to the main card and they pushed her right into the championship picture. So she's educated. She's, out of character, she's a good person, right? She's married to Montez Ford of Street Profits. So, she's a lifer in the company. She's everything that you would want. And this is taking the whole race component out of it. She's just all the right things that you want in the company. She is very good. But I don't know that I could build a company around her. She's just a really nice chess piece. If you compare her to Jade Cargill in AEW, she's so much better than Jade Cargill. It's probably an easy comparison to make, but Jade is sloppy in the ring, and Bianca is not sloppy. I mean, she takes care of her opponents. She looks strong. She doesn't need other people to put her over, but she can make other people look good in the process. And I remember, what was the match she had with, was it Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair?
Yeah.
Was like that was a big deal.
That was the big deal. That was the first. That WrestleMania match was a huge deal.
Yeah, and I mean, that gave me chills, right? That was like, man, I wanted Bianca to do well because Sasha Banks was such a bitch at the time, and I just wanted Bianca to get hers, So it was like that moment, and I think WrestleMania does a good job of giving you those moments.
Can I? I'm glad you brought that match up because that match, everybody says, oh, it's the first match between two black women at WrestleMania. Let's be clear. I want to be clear about something. Sasha Banks only claims to be black when it's convenient for her. When it's not, she's Hispanic. So it didn't slap the way that she thought it was supposed to slap. Now, I was happy to see two minority women in the match, absolutely. But the way Sasha Banks sold that cheapened the match for me, and I was not happy. But now, the looks, the entrances, they gave everything that was supposed to be gave. They gave everything that was supposed to be gave. But I just want to be clear when it comes to that match that I do feel some kind of way because now all of a sudden, oh, I'm black too. Girl, bye. Girl, bye. Mercedes Monet.
Right.
No. Black when it's convenient to you.
If you compare the two, Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. Bianca has all the things that Sasha doesn't have, right? She's got the size, she's got the strength, she seems like a nice person, and I don't get that from Sasha. Sasha's the boss, she's a boss bitch. She's got a great entrance and she's got swag and all that, but in the ring, she's a gawky 14-year-old girl. She's tiny. You have to take care of her. She seems like she's made of glass, and Bianca is looks strong.
She's what they used to say about Lita. She's like Gumby in the ring. That's what she is.
Wow.
That's why she gets hurt. She's like Gumby in the ring.
I was never a believer in Sasha, but I believe in Bianca totally.
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Go ahead.
So
Meg, you're coming in. You're muffled.
Yeah, you're still a little muffled.
All right, hello?
Go ahead.
Back the mic up from your mic. Your mouth from your mic.
Here we go. Sorry about that.
Better.
Okay. Honestly, with Bianca's 2 WrestleMania matches, I think that the better one is Becky versus her.
Mm-hmm. I agree. They both sold each other, where Sasha tries to sell, but sometimes she over-exaggerates.
Yeah.
But Becky and Bianca sold each other so well in that match that, yeah, absolutely. And you could see when Bianca got that black eye, let's be clear, you knew the exact moment, oh, her eye is going to be black. That shit was real.
Right.
That was real. But that's how good those two are. They sold each other in a way that Sasha and Charlotte can't sell. I'm sorry. Becky did, and it was a beautiful match. That was a beautiful match. The only other person that I will say that I've seen sell as well to Sasha is Bayley. Bayley sells well to her. Not Sasha. I'm sorry. Bayley sells well to Bianca, and that's something too.
Yep. All right.
Those matches have been a classic.
Let's wrap this up because we're like 3 times longer than I thought we would be. Any guesses on what my number 1 is?
Yours is going to be a male. All right, so Meg, it's going to be a male. So we have to pick a male. You go first.
I don't know.
CM Punk?
No, not CM Punk. My number 1, and I'll get heat for this because not everybody believes in me, but I've got Kenny Omega as my number 1. And
okay.
I know a lot of people criticize Kenny, but let me tell you what I love about Kenny Omega. So, as the AEW champ, he was fantastic in the role as the cowardly heel champion. Was goofy, was very talented in the ring, very good promos, and I've never seen a Kenny Omega match that I didn't like. You get the feeling that he's just a kid living out his childhood dream as a wrestler, and he's very good at it. If you've had the chance to watch his New Japan match versus Will Ospreay, everything about the match was like the pinnacle of like what I wanted to see in a wrestling match. And even the entrances, the ring work, the build of the match, just it's all so good. And I didn't know who Kenny Omega was 4 years ago. I didn't like him at first, but I've seen him wrestle children. I've seen him wrestle women. I've seen him wrestle a blow-up doll, and he can put anybody over. He can sell any match. what Kenny has done in AEW and really building that brand has changed the landscape of wrestling. And some people will credit that to the Young Bucks or Chris Jericho, but Kenny did more as the champion than anybody else did. And I just have such an appreciation for what he's done. With that in mind, I don't know that I would that I would want to like have a beer with the guy or hang out with him. He probably is a little cocky and egotistical, but he's a nerd like me, right? I think we're about the same age, and his whole gimmick is a video game character from the Final Fantasy series. I don't know. I connect with the guy, kind of Todrick, in the same way that you kind of connect with Bianca. Is that I feel like, in a different timeline, like if I were a wrestler, I would want to be like that guy. And the company is so much better with him there. And that has never been more evident than seeing the company without him there. Like, he just carries the brand on his back. So I think he can work with anybody, and he's willing to make himself look like an asshole without actually being an asshole, right? He's the butt of the joke. But when he gets in the ring, he performs really, really well. So I know a lot of people say that he has twinkle toes and that every one of his matches are the same. There's a lot of criticism about Kenny Omega, but in the world today, I mean, he's my favorite. So, Todrick, what's your opinion on Kenny Omega? I'm curious.
I do like Kenny Omega. I think that he has done incredible work, and it was nice to see when he went over to AEW, him to finally get the flowers that he deserved. He did not get that when he was in WWE, so I think that he proved himself, and he showed them that you said I couldn't do this, and I did it. And I love watching guys and gals do that exact thing. When someone says, you can't do this, and they just go somewhere else and they just excel, I'm here for it. And it sells the story, and I think that he is not disappointed. I think that he took the platform that was given to him, and he showed those bitches. I don't know how else to describe that. He showed them. I'm here. I was always this type of caliber competitor, and I'm glad to see that he did that. It was nice to see all of his hard work pay off.
He feels like a lifer, right? I can't imagine him being in WWE. I know that he's running in New Japan as well, and I think he's actually bigger in Japan than he is here. But I don't know that he's a purist, but he really understands the art of pro wrestling and does all the things that you would hope that a wrestler would do. I don't know that he's the prototype for what a wrestler can be, but he's pretty close. And I wish that you would see more wrestlers kind of aspire to do some of the things that he's done. I don't know. I'm gushing too much. So, Meg, tell me I'm wrong here, because I have a feeling that you don't care for Mr. Omega.
I don't. I don't know if he's for this. I think he's overrated.
Okay. And that's something.
Meg, move your mic.
It all stems from the fanboy.
Which fanboys like me?
Not you, like the crazy people.
Okay.
So. I
No,
don't
well, I
know.
mean, I like this take, Meg. I like this take. Like, tell us. I feel like you're holding back, and I don't want you to hold back.
Yeah, no, you're not going to hurt my feelings if you don't like the guy. Like, he's a polarizing athlete. People either love him or hate him, and if you're, I feel like if you're an AEW loyalist, then you say, I love him. He's the top of the food chain. If you're a WWE loyalist, you go, he's nothing. He's crap. He wouldn't make it in WWE. Um, but I think if you watch his work, well, I don't want to convince anybody. I love the guy, and I think he's one of those people who has elevated the belt. The belt didn't elevate him, and that's the mark of a good champion. Um,
Meg,
there,
you speak your truth because I think that Hangman Cowboy, he's cute, and yeah, I prefer him over this guy. But let's talk about it.
Okay, so what turns me off of Kenny Omega is the fanboys, and they make him big for us, like shoving him down our throats. Like, oh, hey, you gotta watch Kenny Omega. This wrestler is good and everything. The one thing that turned me off the most with Kenny Omega was when he was holding the Impact Championship. I was fine with Christian Cage winning it in the first place, and I think he lost it back again. That really pissed me off. Another thing that really pisses me off was that whole death match thing. Like, oh hey, Kenny Omega's gonna beat John Moxley, which he did, and makes out oh this is an explosion. He he didn't follow up with that. But the satisfying thing, and this happened, and him having the title was 5 days after I lost my mother. 5 days. With Paige winning, I felt like it was good, decent. But to me, Kenny Omega does not appeal Megan. I'm sorry.
I so I'm going to disagree with you guys here. I cannot stand Hangman Page. I don't like him or his bedazzled pants. I don't like his anxiety riddled millennial cowboy shtick. I think he's a nerd. I don't like him. I think that he hurt the belt during his time as champion, and I know people don't like. I think people want to dislike Kenny Omega, so they'll find like reasons why he's not as good as people say he is. In the same way that I dislike Roman Reigns, and I'm going to find any example to say, oh, he's overrated, he's not as good as people say he is. And I know that's my bias, is that's the top guy of the company I don't watch. So I can't acknowledge anything good he's done. I have to just hate on the dude. And I think a lot of people see Kenny Omega as the face of AEW, and they don't like AEW, so they want to break him down too. So maybe there is some confirmation bias there, where I have said, you know what, I'm an AEW guy, and because of that, I have to back their thoroughbred. Um, but I will say this: he's not everybody's cup of tea. I love him. I love the work that he does, and I hope that he continues to do all the work that he does. I think it's great that he works in Mexico and Japan, and he works for Impact, and he works for AEW, and he works for all these promotions, and has been successful in all those places. So I don't know. I think it's
Well,
okay if we don't agree on
we
it.
didn't disagree. We didn't
Right.
disagree. I gave him his flowers.
Yeah.
I just said I thought Hangman was cuter.
No,
You
maybe
know,
he
the
is.
hot the wet muscles and all. You know, we talked about that in earlier shows.
I don't think he oils his hair like the other guys do, though. Hangman.
Oh no,
Bleh.
I wasn't looking at the hair,
You know
but
what? So
I'm still agreeing with you. I'm still agreeing with you.
So that wraps up our top 10. I think maybe in the future we might want to do our top 10 hater board, the 10 wrestlers that we dislike the most. I think that would be equally interesting. So if that's something that the both of you are interested in, I'd love to have you both back on to do our top 10. What are your thoughts on that?
Yep, I'm in for it.
Cool.
I'm always down.
Okay. And we can get a little bit spicier on that one. I think we're going to have some hot takes. So a lot of love for a lot of wrestlers here tonight, and I think I got to know both of you a little bit better. You shared a piece of yourself with the wrestlers that you listed. I don't think there's anybody on this list that's undeserving at all. There are names that I don't like very much, and they're not on any of your lists. So I think you did a great job, and I appreciate you coming on the show. So before we send off here for another episode of EFED Power Hour, I will give you the floor. Meg, any parting words for the audience who lasted all the way to the end of this thing?
This was fun. If you don't like my decisions, too bad. Send hate mail.
Todrick, what do you have to say? Last words.
I just want to say that it's always a pleasure to be on these shows, and I want to thank you, Sauce Boss, for everything that you do for this game, for this community, and this platform that is ever changing. So I love it, and I can't wait to see what we do in the future. Meg, love always being here with you. So anytime we get to record together, I'm happy with that. And yes, I want to face you in that Super Show. And it's not the landslide you think it's going to be.
All right, I will consider it.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week on the EFED Power Hour. It's actually been 4.5 hours if you're counting here. So what was originally 90 minutes, it turned into 4.5 hours. So thank you guys for being troopers and for making it all the way through. Thank you for listening to the show. We'll be back again next week with a different topic. So from the Sauce Boss, from the Meagan G, and from Todrick Tabor-Ramsey, I want to thank you for tuning in to the EFED Power Hour from This Is Awesome Promotions, the World Series of Wrestling, Proud House Wrestling, and Five Boroughs Wrestling. Be excellent to each other, and we'll see you all down the road.